Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Jason here. Today I have a solo playthrough for Daybreak. This one's a fully cooperative game for 1 to 4 players in which you are playing scientists and environmental activists that are trying to create an energy sustainable world for future generations. In the game, the countries of the world, and you are playing one of them, will produce nasty carbon that is going to get into our atmosphere, ultimately rising the temperature of the Earth and plaguing its citizens with various different crises. As a way to fight back against this process, you'll have access to technologies and the ability to evolve those technologies to create that sustainable world. Mechanically, this is a card combo game in the meld of a Terraforming Mars or a Wingspan or a Race for the Galaxy. There's a giant fat deck, and there are all unique cards that will allow you to develop technologies to increase the forest, get rid of your emissions, draw extra cards, and do a lot of that card combo stuff that we've come to love in that style of game. So let's go ahead and jump into a solo playthrough after these channel announcements. We are the One Stop Co-op Shop, a gaming empire, and your one stop for solo and cooperative gaming goodness. Here is the starter player board. I am playing a solo game, so I take the 5 cards that are specified for solo and lay them out along the top like this. In a multiplayer game, you'll have different areas of the world available to you. So you have the majority world, Europe, China, and United States. These are all sets of 5 cards that do similar things, with a little bit of a difference. Solo, they took out all the multiplayer reference and leave you with your own set of technologies. So let's zoom in here and talk about the different elements of the board. Here is your energy. So as you see in my solo game setup, I have a requirement of 9 energy. That will grow over time. Sustainable future does need energy. It just needs to come from clean sources, which is represented by these green. These green are just good, and throughout the game, you'll be finding ways to generate more of that. Here is dirty energy, coal, natural gas, etc. We need that too, but relying on that is what's getting us in trouble. So over the course of the game, you're going to try to adjust the bad energy into the good. We wish you the best of luck with all of that. This row is just badness. They're emissions. We have industrial and agricultural and cars, etc. They do the same thing mechanically in that they just generate dirty cubes. The reason why they have different symbols is to interact with the cards. The cards, you'll have different projects that will take care of individual specific emissions. So like you'll have a card that gets rid of agriculture, a card that gets rid of car. And once you get rid of that, you can pivot to taking care of the other emissions. But getting this row down to a manageable level is key to winning in Daybreak. You also have this section which represents your societal resilience to crises. These interact directly with the crisis deck. We'll get to that in a little bit. But this is playing defense against the bad things that happen. Speaking of bad things, this represents communities in crisis as the world experiences different effects, floods and power outages, pandemics, etc. Communities will be in crisis. As you get more of these, you'll get less powerful, draw less cards. If you get too many, that is one of the game's loss conditions. The very first thing you're going to do on every single round is produce new crises to deal with. So as I was saying before, storms and air pollution and different things are going to happen that will impact the players at the end of the round. So you'll see the tracker over here, depending on where the temperature is. So then it says over here that I lay out 3 initial cards. That is going to get worse as temperature gets added. We'll demonstrate that going forward. But for now, we're going to lay out our initial 3. The first one we see, forest fires. Ooh, getting rid of my trees? No! So you're always going to see some bad thing that's going to happen, but you're going to have the round to respond. Generally, the way to respond is here, and that's where you get your resilience tokens. So making sure I have enough resilience tokens to deal with crises, that's great. Other crises will be face down. You'll have less ability to deal with them. Over the course of the game, you'll get powers that let you reveal these, or you build up your resilience so much that you can kind of weather the storm, whatever comes out. Over the course of the game, as the temperature rises, there are going to be more and more crises. This little infinity symbol means that there could be as many crises, either from the thermometer or some other effect, and you got to deal with all of them at the end of a particular round. The other thing you do at the beginning of every round is you get a good thing, a group project. So these group projects will enable you to draw more cards or get more resilience tokens, etc. These are available to the entire table. In solo, they're not as important. As a matter of fact, you remove half the deck because these are mostly meant for multiplayer. But you do get some additional benefits in solo, so good to have. So then you take 2 cards, you pick which one you want, and you lay it out right there. Now that I've laid out my crises and I've started my group project, it is time to do the fun stuff, which is draw cards and play them. So it's always 5. There'll be game effects that let you either draw more or draw less, but 5 is the key. So then every single card is going to have a number of elements. They're going to have a power, which is, there's always a power. Every single one of these cards, and they're all unique. They're also going to have a set of tags. So you notice that the cards have these different tags on them. Here is the full suite of tags. You see that there are 12 available tags. They tell you exactly what the percentage is of getting each individual tag. If you're familiar with A Race for the Galaxy, or especially a Terraforming Mars, the tag system will be very easy to understand. There are generally 4 ways in which you're going to play all of these cards. We can either start one of these group projects or activate it. So then this card will say tuck to activate. I would find one of the tags. Boo to me, I don't have that particular tag, but if I did, I would be able to activate this agricultural best practices card. I can also mitigate a crisis. So here's an example of a crisis that says ignore if I have 2 pink tags tucked. The regulation tag, look at that. I didn't get that either. But here is an example of a card that has the regulation tag. I couldn't play the starter card, but if I was able to mill this deck a little bit, I can mitigate the effects of this crisis. But really, though, the core of the game is to improve your technologies. You can do that in one of 2 ways. First of all, I can take one of my existing projects and support it. So you see clean energy investments. If I have multiple tags that are attached and I'm going to be playing them behind this card called supporting it, I will increase my power depending on how many tags I have. So I do happen to have this card. So let's say I just wanted it for its tag. I would ignore the text, put it behind there, and now I have 2 tags, which would allow me next round to draw an additional card. That is one way that I can play a card into my tableau. As another example, here is clean electricity plants. This symbol means if I discard a card, then I would get a clean energy, which means that I would have a token to just add to that row. Per tag over here. So if I like the idea of clean electricity and I have the relevant cards, you see I have 2 more cards. I got tag and tag. Then I would simply tuck that behind there. I now have 3 of these tags. And if I discard a card, then I will get 3 of that energy. That's pretty cool. And so the other way that I can go is I can actually replace this power with another one from my hand. So let's say I have this card, Offshore Wind. This is much better. So if I discard 1 card, then I would get 2 energy per symbol right there. So like 2, 4, 6, etc. However, this requires having 3 tags already, and I don't have that. So let's go ahead and investigate this other card, Small Scale Onshore Wind, plus 1 per tag right here without having to discard. So you can see that's more powerful. Let's go with that. So I can make that requirement. So then I would play this card on top of here, replacing it, and then tuck this card in. I now have the 2 tags necessary for this, and then I would get my, in this particular case, 3 energy for having this card. It says once per round, so that whenever you use a card like that, you just put a spare carbon marker here. That's just not going to go into the board or anything, just the track, and then you could discard that at the end of the round. And so that is really the core of the game, figuring out which powers I want to use, how I want to buff them with tags. Over the course of the 6 rounds of play maximum, these stacks will get pretty big and you'll be able to do big effects. That is where the combo chaining happens. In particular, what you want to try to do is, use an effect, and then you have a card that can put that on top of there, and then use the effect again. Take advantage of the growing stack of tags. That is how you will ensure success. At the end of every round, you're going to check this energy marker. If you have met the energy demands of the peoples, then you're fine. If this was a little bit progressed, or if for any reason you had gotten rid of an energy, like let's say you had gotten rid of some of your dirty but did not replace it, then for however many you are short, you would add communities in crises. That's bad. The more communities in crisis you have, the less cards you can draw. And as I said before, that progresses one of the game's lose conditions. So make sure you have enough power for the peoples. Next thing you would do is you check your board for the carbon that it is generating. Right now, my board is generating 19 carbon. So I got 5, 10, 15 as the markers, and then the 4 cubes, and that would go here. So then this is where the Earth can fight back. So the Earth is here to help you. It's going to try to sequester some of that carbon and get rid of it. So if you have the big 5 out there, then that eats the carbon, and then that means that I don't have to worry about it for the rest of that turn. And then the rest of my little bits over here are going to absorb more carbon. As with the big cubes, little cubes are just going to get discarded at the end of this process. There are also these modules called DACs, direct air capture. You can get these by playing cards. They operate exactly the same as the trees and the ocean, absorbing carbon. But let's say this is my layout. I've captured 10 carbon, but 9 has escaped me. So then the rest of it would go on this board. So in solo, I only fill this part. In 2-player, this would be that much. And then in 4-player, you would kind of fill the whole band. So then any place where there's a 5, you would get rid of that. And that is how the temperature rises. That process is going to happen each round. Hopefully, you'll be reducing the amount of carbon that needs to be dealt with. And there will be a point in the game, if you're doing well, where you'll produce carbon and all of it will be captured by what you have on the board. If you have an available piece and you've absorbed all the carbon, that is the game's win condition. It's called drawdown. You take the round marker, turn it around, and you get to the drawdown point, and you can start taking carbon out of the atmosphere, deal with the crisis, and that's what winning looks like. But for the first couple of rounds, you will produce more carbon than you can deal with. Once the temperature rising step has been completed, it is now time to roll for crises around the board. This is the planetary emergency dice. These 6 different zones for 6 different spots. As I roll faces, so let's say I had rolled this fish, I would progress on the fish track. Then when it reaches various tipping points, various bad things will happen, add more carbon, get rid of some of my trees, etc. And I will roll this die as many times as the thermometer tells me, 1 time per band generally. So when the temperature gets nice and high, I'll be rolling this a bunch of times, getting a bunch of bad effects. Then it'll be time to deal with crises. Crises will come in 2 ways to get dealt with. So either I will be losing stuff, generally worse, depending on how many bands of stuff I have. Mitigated by how many resilience tokens I'm able to build up throughout the round, and also if I had managed to tuck cards. You resolve all 3, and then at the beginning of the next round, you'll deal a fresh set, and so you have new crises to deal with every round. If you have reached that drawdown phase where you're taking carbon off of the thermometer and you survive all the crises, you win. Yay! If you don't, then your peoples will populate. They'll demand more energy, so this will rise, meaning we have to spend next round filling this, and then we do it all again. Like in any good cooperative, there's tons of ways to lose. So you can lose to having the thermometer too high. You can lose by running out of time. You go through 6 rounds, you're not able to complete your goals. You can lose if you have too many communities in crisis. But hopefully you have developed your technology and you've reached drawdown and are able to weather the crisis before any of that happens. As a final note for future games, in solo, you're starting with the same general layout. In multiplayer, you can change up the societies, play however you want that. There's a chart for that. In addition, there are also this special set of challenge cards. You can make the game easier or harder in a modular way. So then this card will make the game harder, and then you have ways to make the game a little bit easier. And then you have some cards that are question marks. I don't know. Kind of spice up the game that way. They represent alternative goals to kind of shape your play. So, an example in Wingspan, each round has a different scoring condition. A similar thing happens here with the different goal cards. So, I'm going to be playing with 3 of them, 2 of them bad, 1 of them good throughout the playthrough, so we can see what that does. Speaking of playthrough, I think that you've heard enough of me talking about the rules of this game. Let's dive in. All right, we are set up and about to get going. I don't think I mentioned this during the overview. You can put these trees anywhere. It doesn't matter where they are on the board. They capture carbon. Stuck them all in Australia for you. So have some challenge cards. I picked out 3 of them, 1 positive and 2 negative. So Lungs of the World, during setup, add 2 more trees to the game board per player. Australia is bursting with floral life. And then you discard this one. Next one I'm going to add, which is negative, is Dirty Growth. During the game, the growth stage is the last phase. Each round, I must add 1 dirty energy token unless I have no dirty energy tokens left on my board. So the game is telling me prioritize getting rid of these. In addition, I need to prioritize adaptation. I must end the game with 6 resilience tokens of each type on my player board. Again, a separate thing I need to do. Normally, I just need to get to that drawdown, but I have additional victory conditions. This one might be a little bit tough. In addition, I have a fresh deal of crisis cards. The one that I see is water pollution. 1 of these communities in crisis tokens per player. The player with the most industry emissions, which is me, adds 1 community in crisis per temperature band. So I can reduce that by 1 of the resilience. Now, in the first round, you can manage things so that you only add 1 band. So the first crisis is usually pretty easy to deal with, but then it gets worse from there. I can also choose my group project. I pick 2 and I pick 1, or I draw 2 and then pick 1 of them. So then first, global efficiency standards. Every time I play a local project with a regulation tag, which is pink, reduce the energy demand by 1, or nuclear fusion. When a player takes a local action on a card with a nuclear tag, which is always energy, we get more energy. So let's go with the global efficiency standards. I don't know if I'm going to get nuclear fusion. That's kind of a roll of the dice. More reliable with more players. So even the ones that have solo, tough because you just might not get the one that you need. This one seems more universally useful. So let's go with global efficiency standards. So I drew my 5 cards for the opening deal. I got this card, which is really sweet, to get rid of dirty energy that goes along with this dirty growth. But I need to make sure that I have energy coming in to replace the dirty growth coming out. The 1 energy getting card I got is nuclear plants. Too bad. Just threw that group project away. The game is very specific. Pick the group project before you draw your cards. In terms of cards I want to play, I also drew this, the special drawing rights. So for every pink tag that I have in that particular column, I'm able to add wild resilience tokens. I really want to get this played because that would help with this goal. Normally, I would just kind of play, but I have these goals constraining me. I like that it adds that little flavor to the game. Part of this game is that you want to do so many things, but you only have so many limited resources you got to pick. So I like getting my card draw going. So for nuclear pants, goodbye. Wasn't going to be able to use you to max effect anyway. So next round, because I have 2 of these plug tags, I'm going to be able to draw 1 extra card. If I'm going to play a game where I eradicate my dirty energy, I need to get a quick jolt of clean energy. So going to play this card for its tag. Up top, I now have 2 tags. And so I can discard a card, which is going to be this clean energy card. Goodbye. And I get 2 energy total, 1 per tag. So that's going to combo well with this card over here. So I'm going to play Buffer Zones, and I'm going to play it here. So that gives me 2 pink tags. For free, once per round, I can get rid of a dirty energy. So then I would be able to get 2 clean energy and also chuck 2 dirty energy, which is getting me on my way. But before I play it, I'm going to take advantage of this really powerful card. So I can discard this card. Which I don't want to, but there's plenty of opportunities to get tags, and you can't do everything. So I'm going to discard it. I'm going to draw 5 and keep 1 of them. So basically tag hunting at this point. So these are the 5 cards I drew. Lots of useful tags, especially this one. I might want to increase my energy generation, but I think I'm going to go with here, which gets me the regulation tag and something else. Not for the power, because I already have a good power in my hand, which doesn't require discarding cards. I like my cards. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do this first, and then I'm going to use it, which gets rid of 2 dirty energy. And then I'm going to play this one over here, which, so next round I'll be able to get rid of 3, but I'll hopefully be able to get my energy up to balance. So what that all looked like is I got 2 clean energy, I got rid of 2 dirty energy, so I could just flip these, and I am 1/3 of the way towards completing this goal of dirty growth. In addition, I did meet the goal for global efficiency standards. So from now on, now that I have the 3 tags, whenever I play a one of these tags in any column, doesn't have to be the specific one, I'll be able to lower my energy, which would be really, really helpful towards this goal. All right, so that is my local actions. Let's go to the emissions phase. I am even over here. Had I been short, I would have to add communities in crisis, but I don't have to worry about that. So I'm good on energy for now. So next is calculate my emissions. I got 4 over here. I got 14 over here. So 18 total carbon coughed out into the atmosphere. All right, so here is my 18 total carbon. I'm not going to do this assignment every time, but I like to be a completionist. So let's get these assigned 1 to 1. So this is the Earth. Cat rising up. I think of that scene in The Lord of the Rings where the orcs went into the forest and then they disappeared because the Ents all ate them. That's the kind of the sense this game is giving me at this point. So that is all eaten. Thank goodness for the good card that I pulled. And the rest of it is shot into the thermometer, which means I take this 5, put it away, and I add 1 whole temperature band. All of this other carbon gets discarded. The next thing that happens is that I roll this global emergency die and see what terrible thing happens. I have 1 band, so I roll once. That is deforestation. We're going to go ahead and move that 1. Didn't trigger anything just yet. I need to be careful, though, because the bad thing is to eliminate 1 forest. You see how powerful the forests are, so I got to be careful. So now we resolve 3 crisis cards. So we got some water pollution, 1 per band of these communities in crisis, but it is blocked by my social resilience, of which I have 1. So I get that 1 freebie at the beginning of the round. Loss of fertile land, same thing. Every player adds 1 community in crisis per temperature band, reduced by my ecological resilience. There you go. So in multiplayer, this is variable. So in solo, they give you all 3, so it's kind of not as lethal. Multiplayer, a little bit different story. Anyway, so we have economic recession. Discard a card. That's terrible. I hate that. Every player discards 1 card per temperature band from their hand or play area, reduced by social resilience. These are not eaten. They stay with you. So I was lucky, which means that in future rounds, I'm going to have to tuck cards in order to do what I need to do. That brings us to the last phase, which is growth. We are going to grow 2 energy, which is the solo requirement there. This dirty growth is going to lead me to add 1 more dirty energy. So I have to be mindful of that all happening. I advanced the round marker to 2, and that is a full round of Daybreak. All right, we're up to round 2. So as you can see from this band, I have 3 crisis cards to deal, which I have done. This crisis card that I know of is deforestation, plus or minus a tree per player with any amount of agriculture. So I lose 1 tree if I don't deal with this, and I deal with it by tucking 1 card. I also get another local project. This one could come in pretty handy. Let's see what else I get. I get International Disaster Response Force once per round. Any player may ignore the effect of the crisis card. The effects can be reduced by social resilience. I plan on getting a lot of social resilience, so I don't know if I'm thinking about that. Agricultural best practices, ignore 1 desertification die roll. Yes, I already got 1, and that's a really terrible effect, so let's go ahead and play that. I need a green card tag, this plant thing, in order to activate. All right, let's get nice and focused on the power end of things. I draw 6 cards, 1 extra because I have my clean energy investment. So here are the tags that I got, including the very key tag over here, which would give me more trees, but at the cost of my social resilience. No, thank you. So let's go ahead and tuck that one right here. And we are going to go for the gusto. going to use this very powerful solo only card. Discard 1 card to draw 5 and keep 1. Let's discard Flood Barriers. Yes, I'm discarding a lot of cards that give me social or give me resilience tokens. Hopefully I can replace them. So looking at the odds, I am going for a regulation tag. There's 23% of those on the high end in terms of the distribution. So I am facing pretty good odds that I'll get at least one of these as regulation tokens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there it is. Others are worth looking at, but for the gambit I'm planning, I need this regulation tag. So let's get that played right here. I am now at 5, and I'm going to do the buffer zones effect each round, 1 per tag. 5 tags. Getting completely rid of 5 energy, which is all my dirty energy. I am left energyless, but at least I took care of this dirty growth challenge card. Not something I would do in a normal game, or maybe I would, but I'm definitely doing it here to take care of this. Don't have to worry about it for the rest of the game. I don't think that there are any cards that bring out dirty energy tokens, at least if you don't have any on the board. So I think I'm safe. Famous last words. Now, absolutely do not love doing this, but this is what it is. I was hoping to get another power tag. I did not. So I'm going to discard these 3 cards. This happens every time I discard a card. That is the cost. Here, it's once per round for the buffer zones. Here, it's to discard cards. Again, discarding cards that give me resilience tokens. Hopefully, I don't pay for that. Every time I discard, I get 2 energy for the 2 tags. And so let us get 6 total. Got this snazzy 5 token right there. So I have completely replaced in round 2. First time I've ever done that. And I've met my energy demand as well at the high cost of all my cards. So now that I have done that, I can focus on the resilience tokens. I got this card, Climate Monitoring. Once per round, if I have 3 of these tokens right there, I'll be able to scry one of the crisis cards and also get a resilience token. That will really come in handy. So, but I don't have the 3 tokens, and this is such a good card. I'm going to keep this available to me one more time, and then next turn play it here. There's no penalty for keeping cards, so I just draw the however many cards. With this setup right here, it would be 6. So I had the 7 cards. Hopefully, I get 1 light bulb. There you go, light bulb card to get this fired up. But that's next round. So the benefit of that, as well as advancing that condition, is that I drastically reduce my emissions. So I got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 items out there. I pumped out 14 emission. So 12 of that gets eaten up by the earth, and 2 gets added over here. That is not 5. I do not add another energy band. How amazing is that? So this could be cruising to a very easy game. However, I have been throwing away my resilience tokens, and I have to build up 6 of them somehow. So finally, I can focus on that. Also recall, in the first round, I had this card and threw it away. I look at all those pink tags that I had. It would have just been game over, but I had to discard it, so I have to figure out some other way. All right, next phase, I roll the planetary emergency dice to see if what affects me. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I move this over here and I get rid of a tree. I thought I was doing well. The game tells me not so fast. In addition, the first crisis says 1 player with agriculture emission tokens. That's me. That's where they are right there. So I lose another forest. Oh man, that is unfortunate. So my carbon sequester went up and then it goes down. Freshwater crisis. Ignore if that is tucked. Nothing is tucked. The player with the lowest ecological resilience loses 1 social resilience. Boo! So it would normally be these 2 tokens, but in a solo game, you only remove the social resilience. Last one. Toxic releases due to storms. This one worked out for me. I've been able to block it with my infrastructure resilience. So keeping the temperature down had that good effect. So, good, bad, good, bad. That's kind of the nature of this game. I advanced the energy marker by 2, the energy demand marker. Doing great here, doing very terrible over there. On to round 3. All right, I am still on the first ban. After the 3rd round, it's the first time it's ever happened. I got to do that cleaning dirty energy trick more often. So the visible crisis is Energy Charter Treaty. So then in the solo game, I would get rid of a plug tag unless I tuck a regulation, which is the pink. So that is my card draw. I don't know if I'm too happy with allowing that to sit around. Still need to activate this. You saw how devastating that was, so I might have to spend this round doing that. Let's see if I got 2 more. Loss and Damage Fund. Players may discard cards tucked under here to reduce the effects of a crisis card for everyone targeted. Reduce the effects by 1. That's good if there are a lot of bans because they affect 1 per band. But I'm playing a game where I'm not getting a lot of bans, so oh well. Also, Global Solar Radiation Management. Beginning of the crisis stage, you may roll a die. You probably saw this in the teach, and I'm wondering what it is. Well, now you know. It depends on the card. That allows me to take certain things, certain bands off for the round, kind of lowering crisis temporarily. If I roll low, then I would get extra crisis cards. That's not great. But if I stack up and really focus on this, then it becomes better. Again, both of these cards do not go towards whatever I'm doing with the strat. So let's just go with loss and damage. We'll see if that comes in handy. All right, so I have drawn 6 cards. These are the cards that I drew it and also held this over. So did I get one of those tags? No. I need a third one of those. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is a card similar to that global effect where it kind of negates the bans for a round. Don't need it, so we're going to go ahead and discard that. Use that, draw 5, and keep 1. You know what I'm looking for. What tag? So some nice ones, nice tags. I like that. But I already know what I'm kind of going for. We got that one right there. Discard the rest. Put that... tuck that one in there. This has already been used, so I don't have to worry about it. And let's go with climate monitoring. Boom. So climate monitoring allows me to peek at a crisis. So that's going to be the second one. That's going to be this housing market collapse. Discard 1 card per band. I'm probably going to get a second band. So let's go ahead and add infrastructure resilience with this wild token. Boom. On my way to 6 slowly. So this is the card, the starter card that gets me some tokens. So then every time I discard a card, I would gain a token per tag, and it starts with all the basic tags, and I can add to it. Let's go ahead and do that. So first of all, I'm going to play this for its tags and fire off this power, which is discard a card to get 2 infrastructure tokens per bridge. So get rid of this grid enhancing technology, and that gets me 2 of the tokens I need, 4 out of 6. And so loath as I am to cover this, we're going to have to do it to get things done. Can't do everything. So I now have the Community Wind project, which is going to get me energy in a better way than this because that discards cards, and I don't like discarding cards. So for every set of handshake tokens I have, I get some goodies. So putting that card, boosting the card here gave me 1, 2, 3 of those symbols. So I get to add 1 energy token right there. Boop. And also 1 token of the infrastructure variety, which puts me at 5 out of 6. Also, you notice I have my 5 tags over here. Buffer zones is now useless. This is honestly my favorite part of the game is the pivot. You build your combo, you do your thing, it becomes useless, but the game allows you to pivot and do something completely different with those tags. So my last card of the round is going to be Fossil Fuel Subsidies ban. So then for 2, 3 tags, I draw 1, 4, 5, I draw 2. Guess what? I have 6 tags, so I'm going to draw 3. In addition, only used during the local stage each round. It is not during the card draw. It is during the local stage. It's still the local stage, so 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry about that. Got my 3 extra cards to play with. Fantastic. And because I started a regulation tag, my group project global efficiency standards allows me to lower that, meeting the demand for the round. Yes! And so let's just wipe out our energy needs entirely. So we're going to play Efficiency Regulations, one of the 3 cards I drew. We're going to play it right there. So a couple things happen. So first of all, I lower the energy standard by 1. Second of all, a regulation tag, so I lower the standard again. This is the most energy efficient city you have ever seen. And just for official sake, this happens once per round. So we're going to put that right there. Same thing with these other two, or actually all of them. Whoops. Once they're used, you put the carbon on them to make sure that you don't use them again that round. So I have this card. You remember I had that long row of pink? This would solve my ecological crisis in one go. So I'm going to keep it. There's so many ways that I can use it to put the agricultural best practices in play, or block the energy charter effect with this regulation tag. But I'm going to hold on to it because I like winning. Instead, I'm going to take advantage of this loss and damage fund, which I talk junk about, but I'm using it. So players may discard cards tucked under here to reduce the effects of a crisis card. Any crisis card, whatever effect, reduce it by 1. And so I'm going to put my last card down here and probably use it on this crisis phase. So demand is more than satisfied. I'm probably not going to have to worry about that again for the game, but I do have to deal with this emissions. So that is 14 emission. I haven't even touched that bottom row yet. I've had games where I do nothing but touch the bottom row. There's a lot of variety here. So puts out 14, and I absorb 10, so that's 6 from the trees, 4 from the ocean. And that leaves 4 left. So then that would be 1 over here and then 3 there. So despite my best efforts, I am plagued with another band. All right, 2 bands, 2 rolls of the crisis die. That's not so bad. That's the dieback of the Amazon, which would add carbon as a hit their tipping point. And I roll again. So this is 1 carbon to the band per player. So this will land next round. I got to deal with it. And I lose another tree. Are you kidding me? Ah! All right. We have our crises. Energy Charter Treaty. Discard a plug card. That would affect my card draw. We say no to that. I'm going to discard this card that was under the loss and damage effect, so I don't have to worry about it. I knew about this one, so I prepared for it. Lots of resilience. Don't have to worry about discarding cards. This one, who knows? Sea level rise. Oh, come on. Every player loses 1 infrastructure token. I'll take care of that. I'm down to 4. That's right there. I raise my demand up 2, which is well within what I can handle. On to round 4. All right, new round, 4 of 6. I'm still drawing 3 cards in the next round. If I don't add 2 bands, I'll draw 3 cards again, which is great. But I'm challenged in other ways in this one. The one that I know about is floods. We've seen something like this before, 1 card per band. So I'd be discarding 2 cards, but it hits me in the infrastructure resilience, so I'm not worried about it. The local project here actually came in handy, so glad to have that one around. Next one is Global R&D Fund. Kind of a weenie version of the draw card I don't have. And it would take me putting something there to make it happen. I don't know. Wind technology at scale energy is not my issue at all. So global R&D fund it is. Here is my army of cards. Jeremiah 6, 5 plus 1 from clean energy investments. So that is 6. I also had 1 carried over from the last round. And let's go ahead and use these right away. So efficiency regulations, boop. Lower that by 1. Fossil fuel subsidies. Draw 3. Don't mind if I do. Got more cards. More card draw. No resilience. I got barely anything besides this card from last round that gave me any resilience whatsoever. So I'm a little bit worried about this. But I do have ability to draw more. So that's kind of what you do. You just draw until you get what you need. Let me also do this, play this community win card to add an energy and get a resilience token going. And the 3 tokens. And I also add a wild token, which is going to be my last resilience token so that I can cycle this card out and then do the climate monitoring. Although I should probably check first. So rewind. So this is the new crisis. Biodiversity loss. Reduced by 1 per the ecological. Yeah, that's what I get for jumping the gun. Let's go ahead and cover my rear end that way. Wait a minute. You know what? We're not going to do that. We're going to go back to the original plan. So we are going to pink tag our way to victory. So we have hydrogen power factories. Add 1 energy demand to get rid of 1 of these industry tokens. I have 5 right there. Each round, 1 per pink. So let's put that right there. Even if I use this and I put something on top of it, it doesn't count as used. So it's just to keep track of the current card. That resets. So then playing a pink allows me to lower demand by 1 down to 10. So I could do this as many times as I need to. So we're going to go from 10 to 15 and get rid of all 5 of these industry tokens. You wanted combos? There's your combo. For those of you counting on home, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tags. Let's go to number 8. Circular economy. So if I have 5 plus tags, which is easy at this point, I get rid of 1 of any token and also -1 of energy demand, and then -1 for playing a pink tag and get rid of that. Oh, wow. So satisfying. I'm still not able to get my social resilience to winning yet. I really hope I don't time out without getting that thing. We are going to go up to 9 tags with regenerative agriculture. Once again, that lowers my energy down to 12 this time. 1 tag or 1 ecological resilience per regulation tag. So that brings me up to 10 resilience. 2 out of 3. Where's my social card? So let's go make it an even 10. 10 tags. My energy goes down again. This time it is a luxury consumption tax. Draw 2 per tag to keep all cards that reduce the bad stuff by any. So that's just basically drawing for cards, and maybe somewhere along the way I get a card that gives me social tags. Let's see. I draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 cards. Here are my 20 cards. It is so beautiful. So these are the cards that did not have any ability to get rid of bad stuff. Here are the cards that do. 8. I can't do anything with these cards. Or I could do something, but I'm only emitting 8 carbon, and there is 10 on the board. So it is not wasted. You could actually literally draw down and remove bands, making stuff easier to deal with. I might do that with a couple of these. Most of them add energy, which I have a little bit of a flex. So let's see. All right, I say that. You know what? At the very least, let's get rid of that and play electrify everything. So then that I play it as a local action first, and playing it as a local action reduces by 1. That has been a real savior in this game. And so I'm going to do this twice. And let's go ahead and raise that by 12 to get rid of these big old McMansions and replace them with nice, friendly eco huts. Still have a couple of cards, but I don't have what I need. So let's prioritize card draw. This one allows me to do it during the local stage. So that's right now. If I can get up to 6. So we got 4 right there. These are the cards that I had in hand. Don't need that anymore. And boom. So we got 2 tags right there. Let's stick those under there and draw a additional 3 cards. You got 3 cards right there. 1, 2, 3. That's what I was looking for. Universal healthcare. Get 2 resilience tokens per 1. It does require these coins. There's a coin right there. I have 2 coins in this row. Let's get rid of that. Not another regulation tag. That's a shame. Let's discard this social movement card that I just drew. And that would get me 2 tokens per handshake. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which is 8 tokens overall. How amazing is that? So now I'm in victory lap time. Let's have some enjoyment. So let's put this electric vehicle subsidies to get rid of some cars. Look at that, another regulation tag. Pushes that down by 1, but I'm going to push it back up. We'll use it 3 times to get rid of 1, 2, 3 cars. I had a card that allowed me to get rid of that, but I had to use it for the card draw, so I can't just end the game with nothing. And to continue to shore up my resilience, make this the most beautiful world possible, we are going to play Mangrove Restoration to get me another ocean. I have 9 cards left in my hand, nothing left to do with them besides loss of damage. May discard cards tucked under here to reduce the effects of crisis cards. Any number of cards may be tucked here by any time. Any number of players. Hi. 9 cards. Crisis, you got nothing. Check for energy. I am a 1 short, so a community lands in crisis, but the world is so beautiful that crisis won't last for long. I am putting out a grand total of 3 emissions. 3! So that is in addition to the one that got put out last turn. That's going to get all eaten up by the elements right there. So then now we have hit drawdown. So as long as I survive this crisis move, which shouldn't be a problem, turn this over and sequester the rest of the carbon. So we got 5 and 1, 2. And then we trade this in and we go 3, 4, 5. To get absorbed by here. So now we are down to 1 lowly band. 1 lowly band means 1 lowly roll. That is this cloud thing. That's going to move to a tipping point that moves cubes directly to the thermometer, but I don't have to worry about that. Floods reduced by infrastructure resilience. Biodiversity loss reduced by ecological resilience. Come on, give me the 3 for 3 for social resilience. That's not social resilience. I remove 1. Would have been annoying if I had to remove an infrastructure token. That would have put me to another round. As it was, I lose one of these. That's totally fine. And that is a full game of Daybreak. You see, I rode my pink tags to victory. I got to tell you, I have won in all sorts of different ways in this game. I've won where I have dealt with this row. I've won with ignoring that row and dealing with the crisis down here. I've won by getting the temperature bands up, filling up my card draw, drawing a whole bunch of cards, playing, and then drawing down. There's so many different paths to victory here. It is evocative of your Race for the Galaxies where you could do the trading strat or the production strat, etc. Or a Terraforming Mars where you're, playing either lots of meteors or you have a whole lot of biodiversity tags. There's so many ways to win in those games, and this game does a really good job of replicating it. Adding in the wrinkle of that pivot. That's really what you're here for in terms of a distinct experience. You build up your stacks, you do a thing, then you can pivot that stack and do something completely different, but also useful. I've never really experienced it in that quite that way in a game executed so well. Daybreak, I gotta tell you, this one is going to be hitting the table for me for a pretty long time. Hope you enjoyed this playthrough. This is Jason with the One Stop Co-op Shop, reminding you we'll see you at the next step.